Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we're going to be talking about Mike Todd and how he rubbed his spit on somebody's face in a recent sermon over at Transformation Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, I've talked a lot about Mike Todd over the last 2 years. I did a lot of groundwork exposing who Mike Todd was over at Evangelical Dark Web. Just a very comprehensive analysis of how he's a prosperity gospel preacher and his background with the shady NAR movement and stuff like that. This guy's a clear false teacher and very carnal at that, but he has some Walter White money. That's a fact about Mike Todd. He has Walter White money, and he has very good social media appeal. So we're going to be going into a recent sermon that he gave about spitting, about Jesus spitting in a blind man's eyes to heal him of blindness and stuff like that, and how he's kind of taking this way. He's eisegeting the text and not trying to read into the text, so to speak. He's not trying to get the meaning out of the text. He's trying to put his own meaning into the text. And we're going to be talking about that and just exposing this cringe nonsense. Prosperity gospel preachers over the years have done a lot of crazy stunts, kicking people to faith heal. Well, a lot of faith healers do really weird things, like let me punch someone to faith heal them. It's just weird. It's bizarre. This is similar in the same vein, and we're going to be going through that as well. So here we go.
Here's your invitation. Let's walk outside of what's familiar and who's familiar. And then watch what happens, because the story get crazy right here. It literally goes from, he took the blind man's hand and led him outside the village. When he had spit on the man's eyes and put his hands on him, Jesus asked, "Do you see anything?" Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You gonna call me outside of my comfort zone? And then spit on me? Can I tell you what spit on me actually means? Let me break it down. You're going to do something to me that seems to the natural eye as degrading. That's lower than me. I don't do that no more. I used to work in children's ministry. But God, don't spit on me. Don't put me in a position that degrades who. Do you know who I am? Do you know how much education I have? Do you know how long I've waited and I've been pure? And whenever you see Jesus spit on something or somebody, because there's several times in the Bible. Now, this is Jesus, y'all. I'm just like, don't let nobody else spit on you, but I'm just saying, like, this is Jesus. Like, this was a mode of healing people.
So I want to do a quick pause, simply because he is reading minor details and making them major details. Jesus spitting to heal the blind man is a very minor detail. And why is it a minor detail and not a major detail? Because Jesus did not have to spit on that man's eyes in order to heal him. That's a very minor detail. It was a miracle, and Jesus did it for the glory of God, and to execute the divine plan that God has ordained for the entirety of creation. He's focusing on the wrong or hyper focusing on the wrong detail of the story. The biggest detail in the story isn't the fact that Jesus spat to heal a blind man. That is not the biggest detail of the story. Mike Todd's clearly hyper emphasizing this own detail for, first of all, he's being very carnal with his preaching here. And second of all, we're going into some prosperity gospel here.
By putting people in a positions that others would consider degrading. but actually was their upgrade. The way up is down. The way you're gonna see this vision clearly is let God spit on you. Uh-oh, what do you mean, Pastor Mike? Let him put you in a position that you never thought you would go back to. Let him put you in a position of what is not popular. Let him put you in a lower pay grade. Y'all missed it right now.
See how he's putting himself into the text? The story is about Jesus. That's who the story is about. That's who the Bible is about. It's about Jesus. Your classic Sunday school answer, and Mike Todd is clearly failing it. It's not about us.
Well, I've always made $85,000 a year, he said, but this next year you're going to make 40. Let me spit on you for a second. But I'm the God that will supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory. I'm just trying to see if you're humble enough to carry this miracle. Oh my God. And some of you in 2022 have not been humble enough for the miracle you've been praying for. So the reason why God's gonna allow the demotion, the reason why, nobody wants to hear that word. The reason why God's going to allow them to walk out of your life,
Okay, first of all, if you didn't receive like a 10 to 15% raise, you basically are making less now than you were at the start of the year. So we've all been demoted, right? Unless you got that big bump, you've been demoted. So again, this is such a nonsense point, and it's just feeding into people's selfish desires. That's what he's feeding right here.
Reason why is because he has to make sure you have a heart to handle the miracle. He leads him outside, and watch how good God is. He doesn't embarrass this man because he doesn't spit on him in front of everybody.
That's so good.
Y'all
you hear that in the background?
y'all don't read it. That's the same Bible. We reading the same Bible, right? He takes him out. You thought when God separates you, it was a punishment, but it was really protection. The reason he took him out of the village, thank you, Holy Spirit, was because the work that he was about to do, others would misinterpret it. So he had to get him outside of what was comfortable, so that the level of submission and humility that was about to be, he wasn't going to not spit on him, but he just didn't do it in front of everybody because he didn't want their reputation or his reputation to be tarnished by what he had to go through to receive the miracle. Jesus said, "You good, brother?"
Again, he's hyper focusing on a very particular detail because, again, Jesus did not have to spit in order to perform the miracle. Jesus could have gotten the desired effect without the spitting because God is in control. And again, there's multiple reasons why Jesus doesn't want to do a miracle as publicly or a miracle more privately than on other occasions. There's multiple reasons for that, but he's he's inserting himself into the text in order to rationalize Jesus's behavior rather than using the overarching context of Jesus's ministry and where he's at in his ministry at this particular time, or the emphasis of the author of the Gospels to understand this text. He's putting himself in the text in order to understand the text. That is not proper exegesis.
Now watch. He can't see, but he can hear. And this is the moment where many of us are in, is that God is doing something and we hear him changing. We hear him even in your prayer. And in this time, he's changing something and you don't see it clearly yet, but you hear. And this is where most people would not face Jesus anymore.
I think this is the second grossest thing I've recorded on someone else's, obviously someone else's YouTube channel in the last year. The grossest thing being, was it Bianca Ossoff or whatever her name was, doing the Cardi B impression while reading the Bible, and just that was cringe. This is up there. This is up there. This is on that same level.
What most people would do is turn away.
Again, he's putting himself into the text in a way that's not biblical. Let's assume that the blind man believed that Jesus could do the healing. He's not going to turn away. He's going to trust in Jesus to perform the miracle because he believes in Jesus' power.
What I'm telling you is just as he's physically standing here, knowing what's coming.
The sauce is what his hat says.
God's saying, can you physically and spiritually and emotionally be able to stand? When getting the vision or receiving it might get nasty. I'm going to say it in a point just like that. Receiving vision from God might get nasty. You mean, God, I just bought, in crazy faith, I just bought my dream car. And now you're going to ask me to sell it back and ride in the hoopty again? Yeah, because the vision I'm about to give you, it might get nasty.
Who does that relate to? I just bought my dream car and now you want me to sell it back? Like, who does that relate to? Like, this is so, this is so carnal. It's just focusing on people that care way too much about what car they drive. This is ridiculous who this appeals to. It doesn't appeal to Christians. Oh, that's gross. Oh, yeah.
And do you hear and see the responses of the people?
No. Okay. Point of order. At least Mike Todd is not a Branch Covidian, because no Branch Covidian church would ever do that. And arguably a Branch Covidian church is even less biblical. But that was gross. That was truly gross. That was grosser than I thought it would be.
What I'm telling you is how you just reacted is how the people in your life will react when God is doing what it takes for the miracle. What are you saying? This man was blind, and what he was trying to do with this man is give him his DNA. What I just did was do y'all know how they
didn't know how DNA worked back then. So I doubt that's what Jesus was trying to do, because Jesus didn't have to spit in his eyes in order to perform the miracle, or in order to have the desired effect of the miracle.
Do you know how they prove if somebody's related to each other? Is they get a swab of their saliva, because the DNA on the inside of this person can tell me if these two people are in fact related. God said for me to change your situation that is blurry and unclear, I've got to put my DNA on your situation, on your 2022, on your plans. And literally, watch this. He's blind. And so many of you right now are so bothered. Like literally some of y'all can't even look. How many of y'all can't even look right now? But this is what it will feel like when you built the house and decorated it fully, and God tells you to downsize this year. Uh-oh.
No, it's not the same
This
thing.
is what it will feel like when you finally bought your family the vacation, and God says no vacation for 2 years. When you spent 5 years on a major, and God tells you on the last semester to change it, and I'm gonna give you 4 more years of something else. When you're a senior pastor of a church, and he tells you to close down the church and go serve as the youth pastor at a neighboring church. The thing about Brentham, the thing about the blind man, and the thing about us, if we want to see clearly, we have to allow Jesus to do it. That man allowed me to put my spit on him. He could have fought me.
So just another point of order, and this is kind of just a personal story, because like last night I was watching Semi-Tough with Burt Reynolds. I had never seen it before, but the entire movie is just a satire of 1970s self-help gurus and trends and new age religions. That's what the movie's a satire of. And it's very interesting. The behavior of Mike Todd just spitting and let me spit on you and rub it in your face to make a point, and to do it so carnally is just it kind of is likened to that. And yeah, it just reminds me of all these new age types that just, I'm going to do these crazy things to help you spiritualize yourself. And that's what this is. This is just kind of a new form cult.
Y'all see, this is my real little brother, just for everybody that's like, I'll never go to that church because this is my real little brother. But at the end of the day, he's bigger than me, stronger than me. He could have made sure. Just like God can make sure. And just like you can make sure that God doesn't do it. He allowed that. And this year, God told me to tell you prophetically, I will only do what you allow me to do. You want to see clearly? Allow me to humble you. God, why won't you just take that person away from the job? That's your spit.
Again, we're reading ourselves into the text. Because
all I'm trying to do right here is make sure you can handle. You're going to see clearly soon if you can handle this moment of humility.
All right, so last thing I want to do is Joan Rivers fashion police this nonsense, because look at this outfit. I've already made enough serious points, but this is not a serious point, but, kind of lends itself to a serious point about how, Mike Todd is a frequent on preachers and sneakers. And if you look at, I just hate this entire outfit. We got the shirt without the collar. That is probably $1,000 watch, easy. And then you got the pants that are intentionally so short, and he's not wearing any socks that are, covering his ankles at all, and just ankles exposed. And then the blue, probably easily $500 shoes that, don't really hold it all together. It's a ridiculous outfit. And yeah, this guy spends a lot of money on clothes. It's clear. It must be financially nice to be such a successful prosperity preacher. You get to wear whatever clothes you want, and and then you die, and things aren't happy afterwards. But it's your best life now, as Joel Osteen would say. So again, cringe sermon. And, that's what the prosperity gospel looks like. We don't always focus on the prosperity gospel enough because, the social justice gospel is a big deal. Branch Covidianism, also a big deal these days. And, we're going to focus, we're going to try to do all sorts of things this year because, I founded Evangelical Dark Web to combat 3 specific false gospels. Now, obviously, Branch Covidianism has kind of become a main focus because that was a false gospel that emerged after I started this. But in either case, it's good to make sure we know why the prosperity gospel is bad. It's narcigesis. That's not a term that I invented, but the idea is you're being such a narcissist with your interpretation of the text. That is narcigesis. So that's all I got to say about that. My name's Ray. Like the video and share it as well. Just to get the word out there about Mike Todd. He is going to be a very big deal for the foreseeable future. So it's good to kind of expose that now. And also leave a comment below about what you think about what I think. And I will catch you on the next one.